We're using Flutter and Flame to build some simple games and learn how to use both Flutter and Flame. This is episode 5 of this tutorial series, the Crow Flame Horizontal Scroller. So the last episode 4, we just have a single ship, there's no collision, and there's no background music. The thing's also only on Windows right now. Also, if the crow goes over to the bottom of the screen, there's no game over screen. I wanted to explain the use of routes here. There's a Flame router. There's a router component from Flame, and then you set up the routes to different screens of the game. So right now we have a start screen here, which is our objective. And then if it goes out of bounds, we get a game over screen. Or if there's a collision, there's also a game over screen. So we'll collide. There's an inner collision hitbox, which is why the wings will pass through it, but if it hits it square, the game will be over. Although the concept of routes is pretty simple. There's a router component, a list of routes, and then you can navigate through the route similar to what you would do in Flutter. In order to keep the tutorial simple, I have the primary code in a single file, main.dart. In order to set it up into separate screens, we're going to have to refactor the code. In the lib folder, I'm going to create a subfolder for screens. Then I'll create a new folder for maybe, let's call it gameplay screen. So there'll be a gameplay screen, game over screen, start screen. We're going to extend a component. A component is from the Flame game engine system. We're going to use some mixins. The game reference, we're going to use the name of our game here, which we're still going to call Crow Game. We use a decorator to override one of the existing Flame methods, and it's a very common onload method. So let's go back into main.dart. We can start grabbing most of this. So we'll just drop it in here. I'm going to do control dot for the parallax image data. We moved it out, so there's no load here. We have to put game ref in front of it. Game ref. Game ref. The size is game ref. Control dot to import the airship. And this crow here, we'll move it out. And there's a update. Eventually break out the crow into a separate file. This size is the size of the screen, which is why it needs the game ref here. Okay, so we're going to set up our router component in the Crow game. We'll make it a late final variable for router component, and we'll just call it router. And the onload method here will add the router. So we'll instantiate the router component. This is from the Flame system. Router. And we need to specify the routes. So the routes is a game, maybe gameplay. We can maybe gameplay. Human specified, and then the route is the name of the object or the class. New. Oh, the reason it's red is that there's a route in the material. I wonder if I need it. Maybe I need it. Okay, if I run it, it's running the same as before, which is what we want. We want no change right now. Go change the order to make it easier to read. Oh, I think it looks okay like that. We're going to move the tap into the gameplay, but there's a little difference that we'll have to do. So it has tappable components. And then we're going to cut this out here. We're going to put it into the gameplay screen. And the syntax is a little different. Let's first comment it out. This one has a tap event. And this is what we want here. Game ref dot gravity And at this stage, it won't work. And I'll show you what the problem is. So if we attempt to tap it, nothing's happening. So there's no trigger for it right now. And the reason for that is with the router, we're gonna have to use this decorator again. And so we have to use this contains local point. We'll just have it return true. And just give another shot here. And the bird now works. Okay, so let's create another screen. So it has the screen selected. I'll create a game over screen.dart. And we'll create a new class, game over screen, that extends a component. And we'll start off with a couple of a mix in here. Has game ref, and this will be a crow game. So we'll start the process with override here. We have our standard void on load. We sync awaits super dot on load. And we're going to add a text component. Text component, and it'll just be a simple text of game over, nothing fancy here. We'll anchor it to the center, and we'll position it in the center of the game. And then to give it some color and adjust the font size, we'll have a text renderer with a text paint. And the text paint has a style. Probably const text style. And in here we can have the font size, which, let's see, maybe 64, and we'll set the color to red. Okay, let's try add another route here. Game over route game over screen dot new, we should have these two routes. And in the gameplay screen, we're looking for this gravity here. So what I'm going to do is create a variable here for game over. People have a in the gameplay. If it's over the top or the bottom, the game will be over. Then we'll go to the main.dart. And then below the onload method, we'll put our own update in here. And then we'll check to see so if game over and not showing game over screen, then we'll set the game over screen to true. Do router dot push named game over. So let's restart it. Okay, that works. And we'll have them go up. Okay, good. I'm going to break out the crow and create something called actors. I'm just going to move the airship in here as well too. And I will refactor it. And then in the actors folder, I'll create a crow, dart, and we will extract out our crow. Crow extends sprite animation component. And we'll move the crow animation in there. So we're override, void onload, async await super dot onload, and we'll set up the animation in here. Has game ref, crow game, crow equals crow. Okay, so on the gameplay screen, we'll move the update method into the crow. And just make sure it still works. Crow can fly, I'm clicking on it. And if we let the crow fall, game over. So on the game over screen, we're gonna tappable tap callback. Router, this top of the route. So it's not resetting the position of the bird, the crow. Game ref dot crow, the crow there. Crow's not there. I'm gonna move the crow into the game. And then the game play. In the game over screen. What do we set the scroll to initially? Game ref dot size over 2. Okay, let's check it out. And we need to add in game ref dot showing game over screen equals false, and game ref dot game over equals false. See how it goes. Crow's falling. Right now I can make it fly. Hits it. And it still seems to be functional. Oh, he's going up too far. Okay, looks like the behavior we want. Okay, in the next video, we'll add more of these ships. It looks pretty good now. There's a bit of momentum when he starts to fly up, so might make it a little bit more challenging. I think I'm going to reset the velocity too. I think we call it gravity. Vector 2, 0, 30. Is that what we originally set it to? Yep. Okay. So he hits it. Hits it. Okay, this looks pretty good. I'm going to stop it here, and in the next video we'll cover making these spaceships, and we'll add collision detection onto the spaceships.